Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the VCO Esports Studio with myself, Ben Constanduros. I hope you've had a very good week and a very good SimRacing Expo, which happened last weekend, and so much news and so much drama from what I guess is considered the key community event, bringing everybody together and doing a bit of racing, but also seeing all those amazing products that keep our sim racing world buzzing. And you may have seen that VCO, of course, was heavily involved in the Sim Racing Expo, including a VCO Simmies, which I wasn't involved with, but the man who got everything happening, up and running, and announcing so many things as well is Florian Haasper, the boss of the VCO. Thank you very much for joining us, Florian.
Thank you, Ben, for having me again. And normally we don't do that we have people twice in the VCO Esports Studio, and now the CEO sneaking in a second time. But due to the, I would say, information that we gave away last weekend, I think it's quite nice to have this chance and to explain it all a bit more also in the Esports Studio.
I think you and Josh Rogers are the only people to appear twice so far on the Esports Studio. So you're an esteemed company.
Yeah, he's faster. So he deserves it more. And I think that we will have him a couple of more times afterwards because he's just so good. So yeah, I only appear if there's news.
Right. So first of all, let's talk about the Simmies. What was the reason behind a kind of a mid-year Simmy Awards, and were you happy with how it went?
I mean, actually, bringing in the Simmies to the Sim Racing Expo was the most natural thing, I would say, because we are not. I would say we are no hardware provider. We don't have a stand or a booth where we can show people what we are all about. I mean, what we are producing great racing. We are producing content. We are producing pictures and videos and entertainment, I would say. So it's quite hard to be really active on or represented on the Sim Racing Expo. And then we had the idea together with Kovana, who are running the expo, to let's say to extend the ideas of the Simi Awards and to do Simi Awards especially or specifically for the Sim Racing Expo. And that's what we did. It turned out really, really good. I think it was a special moment for me handing over the trophies to the winners. So it was a very natural thing for VCO to be present or to be involved in the Sim Racing Expo, and we were also involved in the live broadcasting. And then we had the chance to explain our future plans on Saturday morning, it was a great experience.
Just before we get into all the various series that were announced, just obviously the Simmies will continue to be an end of season celebration of sim racing. This was just a very specific one-off for the event itself, the expo itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the initial idea was to do the Simmies at the event, but then we all agreed it would be too early because it's an annual award, so we really have to we have to wait a few more weeks until there's a clear picture on which nominees are the fan favorites and all that. So we will start the official nomination phase for the regular Simmies in November, 1st of November. It will run 2 weeks. And afterwards, we go straight into the voting phase, just like last year, where the top 5 from each category nominees will then be up for being voted by the community. And then in the end, we will know the final winner or the winners of the 13 categories. There are 2 more categories this year. It's video content and best photography. So this is something that we had missed out last year, and stupid. Yeah, so we should have considered this in first place, because having great content is what our job is all about. So there are so many talented people out there doing videos, doing pictures from the sim races. So these will be added, and I just cannot wait. And then at some point in December we will do the awards ceremony again with you, hopefully. And I don't know the date yet, by the way. This is something which we didn't announce and haven't fixed yet. It will be ideally maybe Boxing Day once again. Is it called Boxing Day? Is it right? Yeah, during Christmas, because it's something like, when you had all the Christmas celebrations and then it's time for a good show. So this could be the plan, could be earlier, but we will announce it. But the semis are one of the big foundations, I would say, of the VCO proceedings.
And I think very logical to have awards ceremonies either at the beginning of a year or at the end of the year. So looking forward to hosting that again. Championships wise, then the return of the Pro Sim series. What's going to be different? How are we taking learnings from last year and adapting to this year?
Well, one big learning was that we don't want to mess as VCO with I would say being in charge of two driver pools, like one esports racer pool and one pro pool, and then we try to mix it up every week and so on. So we really went a much more straight away. So all the registrations or applications that come in, they are always in teams already. So it's an esports racer who suggests, I want to do it with this or that in real world pro, or the other way around. And so this makes it a lot easier for us as the organizers to get it all done. Then we went from 8 events to 4 events because it was quite a long season last time, which was cool. It was, and I said this quite a couple of times, it was a big experiment. It was our first series that we actually ran. So we took all the learnings and said, okay, let's do it a bit more compact, all bunched up within November. So it's always on the Tuesday of November, or during all Tuesdays in November. And we basically changed the car. So it's no longer the F3 car, which was a great thing to start with last year. But now it's the LMP2, which will produce great racing, I think. And we changed the format a bit. There's no Fun Cup anymore. So it will be 2 30-minute races with reverse grid in the second race. But the cool thing is that the community will decide which positions will be reversed. So this will add an extra interaction possibility to the community or for the community. And we are still not decided if we will also let the tracks be decided by the community again. But we will come up with a few more ideas until November. But the interest is huge. So we have so many entries already. And I think I can promise it will be a great series again. And we will keep experimenting and do our own stuff and bring in our own ideas. And let's see. It's great to have Race Sport again on board, who did a great job with the production of the broadcast last year. And we will also experiment with commentary. So it will not just be you, Ben, but also we will add some more people to try something new and not to be like any other, I would say, sim racing series, but to be a bit different again. So I'm really looking forward to the comeback of the Pro Sim series.
And do we think that we'll get a similar entry to what we saw last year with the likes of Max Verstappen dipping in and out and Antonio Felix da Costa? Champions around the world were seen playing sim racing. Is that still a realistic proposition this year?
Well, hopefully, and I mean, if these guys are interested, they will. They can call me 10 minutes before the start, and they're in, which is obvious. To be honest, it's not, or we are not dependent on that. There are so many, and this is new, I would say, compared to last year. There are so many real world racers out there that are now, that are available and that really show that they can do it and that they are good at sim racing. So it's a lot different than last year, when we were really searching for pro drivers, and now they are all there and they are filling out the registration. So it's a much more comfortable situation for us. And if Max Verstappen shows up, it's amazing. Would be amazing. I still hope so. Romain Grosjean wanted to do it. Then there were some dates clashes. So let's see what happens. I'm convinced that there will be a great grid, and we will have this combination of real world pros with the sim experts again. And there are so many young guns out there that deserve being shown in a cool sim racing series. So it will be a great field. If the big stars show up, I would love it for sure.
What was the thought process behind the change of car from the F3 to the LMP2 car?
Well, I'm quite often I'm very honest. So there was no big strategy behind it. I would say I think that the LMP2 is a car that is that is that is a fan favorite or a driver favorite. So the reactions that we got were really positive. We are also in close contact with IMSA, yeah. So we supported them when they did their IMSA Pro Series last time around. So it's also quite natural that we have a car that is connected to a racing series like IMSA. So maybe we also do something with them in this respect. But it's just to have a change, to offer something new, to offer a car that people know and that people like to race. But with the ProSim, I would say, framework, we can maybe get something new out of this car and some new type of racing. So that was the reasoning behind it.
And just one last question, because I know all of the guys in the sim racing world will want to know the prize pot that was so generous in the first season. Is it going to be similar again this year?
Yes, it's it's 25,000, I think. So I think it is generous. I was just confused about what the prize money is actually. So it is generous again, and and I mean last year it was 50,000, I think, for 8 events. So I think it's a fair deal. Prize money is important. The funny thing last time when we did the Pro Sim series, that it was not so important in the end to most of the competitors, which surprised me a bit, because some people told me, yeah, you need prize money for creating a good series, and I would agree to a certain degree, but when we did the first events, people liked it and liked what we did and liked the racing and liked the events, and so I think it wasn't in the end a matter of the money or a matter of the prize money, which is very cool and which we appreciate a lot. But on the other hand, it's a must to have a decent prize money in today's esports and esports racing. So we do our best to provide that. And I think with this prize spot that we're offering, we are still we are doing a good thing there.
So moving on then, probably the biggest thing that VCO has ever taken on, the idea of having a cross-platform world championship, if you like. We're not necessarily allowed to call it a world championship due to various rights reasons, but that's what it is, isn't it? The idea to put different platforms, different teams and drivers, and really to find the very, very best in the world, the EWC. Tell us kind of the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we already announced quite early at the end or at the
Yeah.
season finale of the last ProSim series, the Esports Racing World Cup. So the idea to have this cross-platform team competition to look for the best team in the world, which I still find a very fascinating thought, and I'm really looking forward to this last weekend in January where we will host it. But over the past months, we kept thinking about the whole concept, and we kept trying to improve it. And we on the other hand, we looked at other esports competitions like Rocket League or League of Legends and all that, and we knew that this standalone tournament style thing is not enough, and that we need, I would say, a foundation for that, something in the background, some mechanism that justifies to have this final World Cup in January, and really to create our own structure of a VCO esports racing season, because there's so much going on at the moment in sim racing. It's just, I mean, fans cannot really decide what is a good series, what is a, let's say, not so good series, what is worth to follow. So and this is the positive thing, there's a lot going on, there's something happening for everyone's taste, which is cool. And with VCO, we wanted to give I would say, our own suggestion for fans to give a bouquet of races and of events where they know, okay, this is a VCO event and there's a logic behind it, and it will lead to a big theme and to a big finale, which is the Esports Racing World Cup. And so we came up with the idea for the ERL, the Esports Racing League. And this is now, or since we had this idea a couple of months ago, we have been really thinking a lot about it and working on it just to modify this idea and fine tune it. And I think, now was the right moment to announce it and to try it and to dare it, because it's new and it will be different. I really look forward to it. And now I would say our approach of our own Pinnacle series and Pinnacle events that we are hosting as VCO is complete, and we will run this through 22 and then see where we are, and hopefully for a couple of years afterwards. But now we know what our structure is and how we want to do it.
And what makes the league different to a championship or a cup that you might see in other championships?
Yeah, as I've said, we took a few ideas from the world of esports. So we structure the year into 3 seasonal cups. Yeah, so we have the spring, the summer, and the fall cup. We have regular events which are held on the 3 platforms: rFactor 2, ACC, and iRacing. And at the end of each of the seasonal cups, we have one Masters event. There's a higher prize pool for the Masters, and it's then either the iRacing Masters or the rFactor 2 Masters or the ACC Masters. So over the course of the year, I would say there's a balance of platforms, so there have been equally number of masters on each platform, and what we get is an overall ranking in the end. So each of the events has prize money. The masters is I would say, seasonal highlight of each of the 3 splits, and then there's an overall ranking, and the top 10 teams from the overall scores then go to ERWC, where there is the even bigger prize pool involved. And this is then, I would say, the World Championship, the Worlds, as they are called in other esports titles. And in our case, it's called ERWC. And this is where the top 10 teams then battle it out for the big final. And this is the overall idea. It's held in a tournament style, so it's not this. There's another 4-hour race and a 6-hour race and so on. So it's not this GT-driven thing, I would say. So it's rather 50-minute races, like a tournament. And in the end, you will always have Team A against Team B, and there's a big final, and one team wins it and scores the points for the overall rankings. And I think there's a huge potential in this structuring of the season and of our events. It's a big experiment, but I cannot wait to get it going. And because this is, I think, what we can bring to sim racing and how we can develop it a bit further or take it to I would say, alternative route. To do it a bit more esports like, and not so much like a sim racing series with 6-hour races or something like that.
Yeah, because I think we've spoken about before, there are so many endurance races out there, but there is not that many high-level sprint races that are easily accessible and easily digestible. I think from a fan point of view, from your and I's background in touring car racing, we can only cope with 20-minute races anyway, can't we? So it's a good motivation for the fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's worth trying it. I think it will be quite hard. It's a challenge, because I would say the sim racing community is not necessarily used to this high speed. I think it will be, and this is our challenge. We want to create very quick and speedy, I don't know if you can say it in English like this, speedy broadcasts.
Yeah.
It will be quite hectic, maybe, yeah, because you will have experts there talking, well, 4 of them talking about what happened in the first round, and then we go straight into the second one. It's 50 minutes, bang, we have another situation. The community can do predictions: who will make it through, will Coanda beat Redline, hopefully they will take part in this round, or what are your predictions for the finals? And then we have a lot of music in there. We will have quick chats. We will have chats with drivers in between. So I think we can bring in some stuff and really speed up the whole broadcast as well. This is the goal. I don't know if we will make it, so it will be an experiment again. But I'm so keen on trying it.
And one experimental format that seems to have stuck pretty well is the Cup of Nations, which VCO has supported and kind of conceptualized from the very beginning. So we've got another one of those coming up as well, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening in December, and I have to say it again and again. It was Williams Esports' idea, so hats off to them. So they let us participate and support this concept, which is really cool, and we have really close ties there. This, I mean, to be fair, this concept maybe is the birthplace to a certain degree also of the ERL idea, because
Yeah.
this is where we saw that a concept which is quite different to a conventional race series works and can produce entertaining esports racing. There's also a huge prize pool this time, $25,000, I expect that we will see many of the big esports racers there, of the fan favorites and the quickest guys, but not representing their individual team, but representing their nations again. And I think this is such a unique and easy concept. But it's one of my favorites and really a big inspiration for the ERL. And I think Team Germany will have a hard time in December.
Have I missed anything else? Because VCO is so active. Is there anything that I've forgotten?
No, I think you made it. Basically, ERL is at our heart at the moment, because this is where we put so much effort in, and the first ERWC1 at the end of January will kick it all off with 30 invited teams. Yeah, so this is where we start with 30, because we don't have the structure in place yet to determine the 10, I would say, best placed. So this will be quite a big tournament, and then in 2023 it will be the top 10. And I think after ERWC 1, we will see how the idea is accepted, if it works, if it needs to be tweaked. But then I'm really looking forward to an amazing 2022. And maybe one thing to add. This is just what we are doing, I would say, on our own project side. Yeah, I think on the other hand, we have our what we now call the V community, VCO community. Well, funny hashtag, where we really try to support the sim racing community, the grassroots communities, like the VW Jetta Cup, which is a crazy series, where we now support with photographs and with social media coverage and so on, or the IRA League. I mean, what an amazing league system they have built up, and we have consistent racing going on during the weekends now, which is so cool. Then we again team up with real world racing series like the DNLS at the Nordschleife, our birthplace, I would say. This was the first series that we were in touch with. So you see, we are really involved in many things that are happening in the community, that are happening also in real world racing, I would say, where series team up with us to create a cool esports racing product. And then overall, or on top of that, or not on top of that, actually, just as a third pillar, we have the ERL and the ProSim series leading into the big World Cup. So I think this is a unique program, and we will have a lot of stuff to cover in 22, and so a lot of esports studios to fill with people, not me.
Exactly. I was about to say, you've announced everything but me in my little studio, which is about to change, by the way. We're going to have a new studio come October, which is very exciting. So you'll be able to follow all the news in the esports studio, and then obviously get all the diary filled in, because it's the ProSim throughout November every Tuesday. We'll then have the Cup of Nations in December. We will have the Simi Awards in December, and then we will go for the first ever EWC at the end of January, and then start a massive haul of events throughout the whole of the 2022 year. Thank you very much, Florian, for chatting with us. Great to have all your news, and looking forward to it.
Ben, it's been a pleasure once again. Let me say one final remark. I'm really proud of the Esports Studio. It's running, or has been running now, I don't know what episode it is now, 59, 60, which is a thing week in, week out, with the help of all the people in the background. I mean, it's a very hands-on format. We don't mess around with a lot of technology and all that, but I think it's working really good. And we also have a podcast, by the way. So if you are looking for the VCO Esports Studio on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, whatever, it's also on there. So people can listen to 59 episodes, and then they know everything about about esports racing, and we will keep on doing this. So big thanks to you, Ben, for all your efforts over the past, because or past months and years, because yeah, it's been a great trip since we started, and now we are entering 22, and it's a huge year. So yeah, I look forward to keeping on doing this.
Awesome. Thank you much to Florian Haasper, the CEO of VCO. And as I always say every week, until next week, we don't know who the guest will be, but it'll certainly be something interesting. Enjoy your sim racing and see you next time. Bye bye.